Avenue.
Oh,
and,
yeah. We used to go on all those areas, but not as much as White Bear was our hometown, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was closer. There were more kids that we knew.
Mm-hmm.
And-
Were you ever involved in the drag racing?
Oh,
Or the...
yes.
Tell us about that. What was that like? Who
Well-
was doing that and why?
It was sort of a game
Mm-hmm.
that we started, that everybody started as teenagers. Like, that hung around with groups, and you did the darndest things. It was challenges, like driving. We would go up to Wisconsin when we were graduated now. We were still 18, but not drinking age because that was 21.
Even back then?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't 18 then. But
Wisconsin was.
in Wisconsin, yeah.
It was
you're right,
18.
It was 18, but it was 21 in Minnesota, so that's what.
And then it switched
we
to
used go up
19
to
when I was
Wisconsin,
in high school.
up to where Aunt Elaine and Uncle Jimmy, somewhere up in that, close to that area. But things were basically the male side did the driving. You know, the girls didn't have the cars,
Mm-hmm.
and that was one big thing that you did on the weekends. You washed your car and all that stuff. Got together and went with a group. Like we used to go up to Somerset, Wisconsin,
Mm.
and that was
That's where Apple River.
a big place that other Minnesotans would go to. So
To just hang out,
you'd
party.
not too much, not
No?
there. We used to get something to go, beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they had was beer.
What kind of beer did you drink?
Oh boy, Leinenkugel.
Oh,
That was the name of that one. It was this different.
still around.
Yeah,
Yeah?
it is. But that was more weekend stuff, like Friday night, Saturday night,
Mhm.
Sunday night.
Did you talk about your first job? Mm-hmm.
Let's see, my first job. I think I said
Yeah.
Yeah, you were
was
talking
the one.
about it. Mhm.
that was. I worked at Montgomery Wards. If that's the one I was thinking of, that was my first job. My first job actually was, working part-time because where we lived, there were farmers and stuff like that. So that was a big part-time job for younger guys because of the type of farming they did there. And it's still, the farmland that's around. There's not that much anymore, but it used to be like what they call vegetable farmers, tomatoes and muskmelons and watermelons they'd grow. And you'd work with that kind of fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, that's why half the guys that I knew were from different families. They'd have the same last name and that, but their dads and that were all farmers.
Like the Costas. And...
Costas, Andersons,
Mhm.
Polenos. Those are the bigger names around. And they were all vegetable farmers. They all grew basically the same thing
Mm-hmm.
because they had the land. there, which slowly they got older and sold the businesses, and who bought them? But home builders.
Mm-hmm. Building
And
development.
that's where housing development went crazy then.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the 50s.
So you mentioned how you were sort of in a gang or like a group. Was there ever like a rival group that you felt you were up
Race.
against or anything like that?
Yeah. Only one. There might be two, but they were from the St. Paul area, which was,
The
we were the
city.
farmers. The Hicks. And then you had the city slickers, we called them, and that stuff. Yeah.
What would you do? Would you just,
Fight.
you would fight?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fist fight?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'll never forget this. We went up to Osceola, Wisconsin, with another. We challenged another group from Ray Street, Northern Ray Street.
Mm-hmm.
They were toughies,
Mm-hmm.
and we went up to. We used to go to Harvey's Bar, and we were headed up that way to meet these guys and fight with them. And one of the cars got in a real bad accident. Yeah, it was a bad one.
Mm.
So that put the kibosh on that particular event night.
Yeah. Was it one of your friends?
No.
One
it
of
was
them.
One of them. Yeah.
They got in a bad accident?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't because of your friends. You guys didn't do it.
No.
They just did it.
was-
Or-
Yeah, they did. They got. I don't know what it was. They hit a deer. With some problem,
Mm-hmm.
but it was on the way up to Osceola.
Mm.
That's where we were.
You were going to go fight them?
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you challenge them? Like if you saw them in person?
Yeah,
Just be like, fight next week.
yeah, it was just something that came up. I don't even remember what started it.
Mhm.
But that was sort of a practical thing at that time. With not only with us, but with other groups that lived. We'll say we were, they were slitty slickers, we were country hick.
Well, wouldn't you come home like beaten and bloody, and wouldn't Grandpa see that?
Oh, it was something that if you did get in a fight, it was like two guys out of a group would start one, and some other ones would start two. But it was mainly you're on one side and we're on the other side, and you didn't fight all the time. You did a lot of swearing and
Cheering.
yeah, all that stuff. But we had our own little groups of fights.
So you didn't get caught by Grandpa?
Oh no. Not that I remember now.
I think you'd probably remember.
Yeah. You could do, but you could get into trouble a lot of times. But
Did you tell them when you did get in trouble?
did
What you did?
what? The town?
No, did you tell them what you did when you did get in trouble?
Only if they didn't find out through somebody else's parent,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Otherwise, everything was hush.
Yeah. Did you ever get arrested?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny you said that.
I think this would be good content.
Yeah.
Right.
I did.
What'd you do?
Let me think. Oh. we borrowed somebody's motorboat on Forest Lake
Without them knowing?
at night.
Borrowed
At night, of all things.
at night. That's
Yeah.
always a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, to make a long story short, we snuck this motorboat out on the water. Now, I forgot all about that until you mentioned it now.
What happened?
Well, we took the darn thing out, and when you think about it, you're the only ones out at night, and it
You
was a
can hear
motorboat.
all the way across the lake.
Yeah. And somebody heard their, I don't know how it happened now. It's just different. But that's what happened. We come back to getting it. It was at Forest Lake. I don't know if I said that.
Who were you with?
Oh, Jesus. Who was that? Rick Thies, I think, and the Finnegan boys, Bob and Dick Finnegan. I hung around them with mostly. Harley, no, he wasn't with none of the Andersons. It would, because they lived on Burwood also,
Mm-hmm.
so I hung around with them more. But it's funny that I mentioned that now, because I just remembered that.
So when you got back to the dock, you got arrested or what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you have to go to jail?
yeah.
Yeah.
Not to stay overnight, but they had to bring us down to White Bear Jail, and book us.
Did
But
Grandpa
we-
come to pick you up? Or?
No. They let us go, but because we didn't destroy anything or do anything wrong, except that. But we didn't harm anything.
Mm.
We didn't wreck the boat or do anything like that. But that's basically, we were in their records then.
Mm. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Grandpa never found out?
Grandpa didn't, but Grandma did. I don't know if she ever told him. I don't think
She
so.
kept a lot of secrets.
Oh, she kept a lot of things that she knew.
What did she do?
Huh?
What did she do? Did she punish you or?
No. It was, she found out later on, after the fact. It was her. We used to call them cronies, her old cronies that she used to chum around with. For some reason, they always heard through the grapevine
Funny.
about any problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
So-
she kept it a secret. I don't know if she ever told Grandpa or not, but he worked out of town then. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was.
Were you just doing that for fun, like getting on that boat? You're just
Yeah.
messing around.
It was like, can you see if you can do it?
The challenge.
Yeah. It was dumb, but right now when I think about it, it was just something that somebody brought it up and it was a challenge. Could you do it? And it was at night. It was at night.
Mm-hmm.
So it was dangerous. We knew the lake. But it's something that, we could have run into a fisherman out there or something that was out at night with no lights on.
Sure.
God, I haven't talked about that for a long time.
I thought you were going to tell the chicken coop story.
Oh, that was when I was real young then.
Yeah.
We had the old chicken coop, And we had in the back of the chicken coop was, wires that look like that, chicken wire.
Mm-hmm.
There are bigger holes in them.
Links and yeah.
And we had straw in there for the chickens for their nests. And there was straw sticking out and all, that would go through the holes. And I had some matches, and I would light a piece of that straw sticking out of the fence. But I would let it go in as far as I thought I should. And then I'd pinch it off, the flame. Only this time I let it go in too far and the darn thing started on fire. Oh my God. Scorched the whole side of the chicken coop.
Chickens die?
No. The flames were all outside.
Oh.
In the fence. It was like a fence, like, and
But
straw.
scorched the building.
Yep. I don't know if you ever. I think the building. I don't know when we tore the darn thing down, but it was on our property for a long time. In the backside, not the
Yeah.
whole thing, but you could just see where the fire was. I don't even know how we
Got it out.
Yeah, we tore the fence down, I suppose, or the area that was held a straw in. We tore that down, and by that time it had already blackened the darn side. God, I forgot all about that stuff.
To get in trouble for that one?
Oh yeah. See, Grandpa, at that time, he worked out of town. So there's a lot of things that Grandma knew that she didn't say.
That one was hard to hide though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, 'cause,
When the building's all scorched.
we got it out. The neighbor across the field, over on Centerville Road, he saw the flames, and he came over and helped put the darn thing out. Helped us,
Yeah.
but he was. We all knew each other, families as
Right.
far as that went. So I know my dad found out about it, but
Yeah.
I know my mom didn't tell him, but somebody else might.
Somebody else did.
So, at that time, what would you say your biggest accomplishment was? Was it that
In high school.
Yeah, or let's say like just out of high school. Was your biggest accomplishment to yourself that you graduated high school?
It was number one.
That was your most proud thing,
Yeah.
you would say?
And then getting a job.
Okay.
And my first job that I got was at Montgomery Wards. And I think it was only for a month. It might have been more, but I don't even know if was there a Montgomery Wards? Was that in when you were young? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they
And Sears was big.
pardon?
And Sears department store.
Right. Sears,
Montgomery
Sears was-
Wards and Sears.
But Montgomery and Wards
Because the
and Sears were
catalog, you
like,
get the big catalog.
they were two big, what do they call them? Mail order? Mail order stores?
Uh-huh.
I think that's what you call them. But we, let's see, it was, my first job then was at Ward's, and I worked with a fella, we were kids, by the name of Gary Halverson, and the reason we got the job there was his dad worked there.
Oh, okay.
And his dad drove the three of us to work when he went. And that was just a part-time job for Gary and I. And
Then how did you get the Burlington Northern job?
I got that basically when there was a family called the Finnegans.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Finnegan was the oldest. Dick Finnegan was second oldest. Bill Finnegan was the next oldest. And Dick Finnegan, he was a year or two older than myself, and he got a job down in Burlington Northern.
Hmm.
And so when he came home, he told us they were hiring.
Oh,
So
okay.
both Bob, his brother, which was he was a year or two older than myself, but he had polio when he was younger. You ever hear of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he lost a couple of years in grade school because of that. So that's why we were both in the same grade, but he was older than me. So him and I went, Dick's, his brother, his older brother, Dick Finnegan, he was already working down the railroad. Told us that they were hiring. So then we went down, Bob and I. And then we both got jobs down there. And that was in 1955. I think that's when I started.
Okay.
Both Bob and I. And Dick started because he was 2 years older. He was a grade high, 1 year greater than Bob and I. So he would have been probably 17 years old, 18. But that was my first job. As far as working for a company,
Right.
all the other times was earlier when we were younger. I would work for the vegetable farmers. Picking.
Picking.
Yeah.
That sounds like long, hard work. Out in the sun.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. You ended up getting sunburned and suntan then eventually. I forget what we got paid. It wasn't much. You'd get paid by the bushels that you would pick of
Oh, really?
tomatoes, cucumbers. They were basically the vegetable that was growing at that time. And then some of the farmers on the side, they grew watermelon and muskmelon and potatoes. But basically most of the farmers, they grew a little of everything because they had the land for one thing. So you had a variety of things that you used to pick and clean and put in bushel, and then the owners would take them down to the city market and sell them.
What would you say that your sort of like favorite memory from that time is? Like when you were 18?
18?
Mm-hmm. Or like later years of high school?
Favorite time or
Just like favorite specific event or like thing that happened, sort of.
Oh. See, all the grade school years that I went to different buildings. 3 different ones. And then, let's see, 4 different school buildings. And then the biggest the biggest building was the 9th grade. And when we graduated from in the 8th grade from all these little schools in Vadnais Heights, we were bused then to White Bear Lake
For high school?
for junior high first.
Okay.
Yeah. And then junior high was ninth grade. And then 10, 11, and 12 was senior high, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was that way. So I went to two different schools, and White Bear was all adjoined, all in one school. But one was an old school. That was the 8th grade. And the 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th was a brand new school that they had just built. And it's still there.
Okay.
And they still use it for school. School, I guess.
Wow.
They haven't been there for a long time. But that was all the different schools that I really, school buildings, I should say, that I went to. So in 1955, that was it then. That's when I graduated from White Bear Senior High.
Okay.
And then I worked, had a couple jobs during the summer before I worked down at the railroad in 1955 when I started there. And I worked at the railroad for almost, I think it was 40 years.
Wow.
So it's quite a while
Yeah.
when you think about it. So when did I start? In 1955. God, I gotta think back. Or is that when I graduated from high school? 1955. Yeah, and then I quit school, or the railroad then, I think it was 1960, 70, 66, somewhere around there. That I worked at the railroad then for how many years that is? 10 years or whatever. It's pretty, I gotta think back quite a ways.
Yeah. I
I know,
imagine.
that's something that I even forget.